New Year's Eve in Knysna was actually a quiet one for us. After all, we'd been sailing for 5 days non-stop. New Year's Day, we just chilled, relaxed, recovered. But we did visit one of the many funky, cool restaurants or cafes in the township of Knysna. So I'm going to explain how we try to find a weather window to make a passage around South Africa. The problem with South Africa is you have a constant progression of low pressure systems rolling under the Cape and up into the Mozambique Channel. The trouble with the coast itself, one thing, you've got the big currents. You've got the Agulhas current coming from the northeast direction downwards towards the southwest, and then you've got the Benguela current on the other side near Cape Town. If you get in the wrong wind direction with those currents, which can be 3 or 4 knots, if you get wind against that, you're going to get seas really standing up steep. And this is why they call it the shipwreck coast, basically, because, and it's one of the roughest passages in the world, or it can be one of the roughest, because of that reason. Big winds against big currents. Apart from the weather, there's not many places to hide in along the coast. Definitely not for ships, and even mostly not for yachts. So you have to know where your ports are to duck into and protect yourself, get shelter, and there aren't many. So anyway, we left from Knysna to Cape Town for us. We allowed 2 days for that, and we did it comfortably in 2 days. I'm going to show you on the predict wind here from Port Elizabeth to Cape Town, which is about 400 miles. Using the European model at this stage, we're going to just check one model, and if it's got a window, we're going to check the other models to see if they also agree. And often they don't. Let's play. So it's Monday night. The wind. Port Elizabeth is nice for a departure. It's getting stronger. Coming into midnight, and we're up to 25 knots. Getting stronger. Can you imagine this at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, 30 knots on the tail? This is not ideal. And it gets up to 40 knots. I do not want to be out in that. So that's not the ideal weather window. And by the way, this distance from Port Elizabeth to Cape Town is about 400 miles. So we're looking for Jupiter, that's about a 2-day passage with wind. So we're still sitting Port Elizabeth waiting for this 40 knots to pass. Let's just keep moving through. Here comes a low pressure system under the Cape there. All right, Wednesday afternoon we would have a northerly, which would be a nice reach to get underway. Let's see what happens after that. Sort of turning onto the nose. We would be, what is that? That's Wednesday night. Let's see what happens. A bit more Thursday, early Thursday morning. All against us. Not what we want. I think we're going to have to wait a bit longer in Port Elizabeth. All right, that's Thursday morning. Hey, look, Thursday morning, 8 o'clock. We have a very light northerly all along the coast. Let's see how we go. Sorry, it's not very light, it's 15 knots. And that's enough, to be doing 7 or 8 knots in Jupiter. And then it turns on the tail. That's nice. So that's Thursday morning so far, looking good. Increasing a little bit to 20 knots. All right, Friday morning, same time Friday morning, we're going to be halfway. Look at that. And about here, the wind turns and is on the nose. It's 10 to 15 on the nose. Not ideal. We could consider, if I just zoom in once here, in here is Knysna. The wind has been a northerly. I think the swell should be okay. On the entrance of the Knysna heads, we could possibly duck into Knysna. However, this is just a forecast, remember that. Let's have a look at the next window. See, so that one has given us 1 day window. See if we can get a longer one. Alright, we're back in Port Elizabeth. It's Friday lunchtime. You can see over here we've got headwind. There's no point leaving. We need... So we're now Friday night. All against us. Still in Port Elizabeth waiting. Saturday lunchtime, still against us. Alright, what about Saturday night here? That's all gone south. It would be a nice reach. A little bit on the nose, but mostly reach. Later in the night goes into a better reach. And then it goes deeper. A little bit behind us. So we're talking Saturday night is nice so far. Turns into 15 to 20 knots. Alright, maybe peaking 25 knots from behind, that's okay. And now we are Sunday night. We are around about halfway. We've done 24 hours. So we've just passed Knysna around this point here. What happens after that? How long do we get of this? Alright, Monday morning. Monday morning we're going to be not far off Cape Agulhas. Just a very light wind. We may have to start the motor. Oh, the wind all drops off. Cape Agulhas, the wind drops off. We are probably, what are we, Monday, late afternoon. We are probably past Cape Agulhas, getting a slight westerly, 5 knots, picking up to 10 knots westerly. We're now around the 48-hour mark, and we are almost home and hosed. I think Saturday night is our window. Let's just see, make sure nothing scary coming. So it's 10 knots, 15 knots. Worst case, we could duck into Simonstown here. So that's 48, that's 52, that's 56 hours or so there. Definitely will be in Simonstown. So that could be our window. At this point, looking at Saturday night for a departure, what we want to do now is check the other models. Let's check GFS. And then let's check the predict wind. If they are going to agree, or at least 2 out of 3 agree, I'd feel fairly confident to start our passage Saturday night. However, that is a week away from now. And this is just a forecast, and that's a long range forecast. So you need to be checking the weather every update, which is at least twice a day on predict wind, and looking for your windows in that way. And this is the patience you need for sailing safely around South Africa. Well rested, the next morning we set off early. We wanted to get to Cape Town. As we were leaving the harbour, we couldn't work out what this thing was floating in the water. We were delighted to see our first seal. We were a little bit worried about him though, because of this strange behaviour. So it turns out this is how seals sleep. They can switch off half their brain and rest, and the other half is semi-alert.
He's enjoyed it.
Weirdo? No, that's what he looks okay.
Because he cannot turn around.
One fin out of the water, he's able to keep an eye on the wind and the waves, and also regulate his body temperature. He's catching sun rays right now. One problem with the Knysna heads is that sometimes you can't get out due to the conditions. But today was a calm day, and we even got an escort from our friendly mammal cousins of the sea. In the waters off the south coast of Africa, there is mixing of deep ocean currents bringing nutrients to the surface. This means there's an abundance of wildlife.
We have Didi.
This was the largest pod of dolphins that we have seen so far. They came racing over just to come and play with us.
Hello. Oh, they're going wow. Oh, they're playing with us.
These were the long-beaked common dolphin, and just like bottlenose dolphins, love to interact with humans and boats. It really is just such a positive energy when these creatures come and visit us, with their permanent smiles and sporting moves.
There's a seal! Yeah, I saw that. I saw the seal! They're so cute! Yeah, he's trying to copy the dolphins.
This courageous seal was soon seen off by the dolphins. They'd had enough of his mimicking. On our second day out from Knysna, we passed the mighty Cape Agulhas, one of the 5 great capes of the Southern Oceans. We arrived into HOUT Bay at about 10 p.m. at night and anchored outside the marina. And this is what we awoke to. We settled into the HOUT Bay Yacht Club Marina, which is where Jupiter would stay for 4 months. Just found a neighbor.
They're so big. Oh, he's looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Oh.
I'm only about, the camera's really wide angle, but I'm only about 10 feet from him. I don't want to get any closer. If you liked our video, we would love it if you subscribe, like and share. Join us next week as we discover this most spectacular part of Western Cape.